I froze. The door slid open without a sound. A tall alien woman walked into my tiny room like she owned the entire station. She wasn't wearing a single piece of clothing. Her silver blue skin shimmered under the soft ceiling lights. Tiny glowing lines ran across her arms like living stars. Long white hair flowed behind her, and bright golden eyes locked onto mine without even a hint of embarrassment. She smiled. Not a shy smile. Not an awkward smile. A confident one. Then she looked at my bed, walked straight toward it, sat down, patted the empty space beside her. "This will do." I blinked. "Excuse me?" She stretched lazily before lying on her back like she'd finally come home after a long trip. I claimed this bed. Silence. My brain completely stopped working. Around me, the old cargo room remained exactly the same. Rusty walls, one tiny table, one broken coffee machine that hated mornings even more than I did, and one bed. One, not two. Just one. I looked at her. She looked at me. Then she smiled even wider. "You may sleep on the left. 3 hours earlier." Life on Station 12 wasn't exciting. Humans weren't famous, we weren't rich, we weren't powerful. Most aliens still saw us as the newest species trying to survive among civilizations thousands of years older. So naturally, they gave humans the jobs nobody else wanted. Cleaning, repairs, cargo lifting, emergency maintenance. If something smelled terrible, a human probably had to fix it. I worked as a maintenance engineer. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid enough to keep a roof over my head and coffee in my cup. Usually. That morning had started with a broken gravity pipe, then an exploding cleaning drone, then my supervisor blamed me for both. "Congratulations, Ethan," my friend Mason laughed. "You've officially had the worst morning on the station. I still have 6 hours left." "Good point." We both laughed. Then every alarm on the station suddenly screamed. Red lights flashed everywhere. People stopped walking. A robotic voice echoed through every hallway. "Attention. Diplomatic vessel approaching." Everyone looked through the station windows. Something enormous emerged from hyperspace. It wasn't just a ship. It was beautiful. Silver wings curved around a glowing crystal core. Thousands of lights danced across its surface like stars trapped inside living glass. The entire station became silent. The Lyrans. Someone whispered. Even saying their name felt respectful. The Lyrans were famous across known space. Scientists, explorers, peacekeepers. Every species admired them. Every species feared disappointing them. Rumor said they could solve impossible problems before breakfast. Rumor also said they never visited anyone unless something incredibly important had happened. "So," Mason muttered, "why are they here?" Nobody knew. Not yet. The station transformed within minutes. Security teams ran through every hallway. Cleaning robots polished floors that hadn't been clean in years. Officials suddenly remembered how to smile. Even Captain Brooks looked nervous. That alone terrified everyone. I tried avoiding the chaos. Broken machines didn't repair themselves. Unfortunately, someone else had different plans. "Ethan Carter?" I turned. A security officer stood behind me. "The captain wants to see you." "Me?" Immediately. That was never good news. Captain Brooks stood inside the command office surrounded by alien diplomats. The room felt unusually quiet. He looked at me, then at the elegant Lyran woman standing beside him. She was unlike anyone I'd ever seen. Tall, graceful, completely calm. She studied me with curious golden eyes, not judging, simply observing, like I was a puzzle. Captain Brooks cleared his throat. "Ethan." "Sir?" "The Lyran delegation has made an unusual request. I've already fixed the air filters. It's not maintenance." "Then," the captain looked uncomfortable, "they specifically requested you." I stared. "I've never met a Lyran." "Exactly. Then why me?" Nobody answered. The elegant alien stepped forward. When she spoke, her voice sounded almost musical. "Ethan Carter, yes? You assisted one of our survey drones 8 months ago." I frowned. "A drone?" She nodded. "It was damaged outside Dock 7. Memory slowly returned. Oh, the tiny floating machine. Everyone ignored it. I had repaired it because, well, it looked lonely. You remember. I didn't know it belonged to the Lyrans. It did. It wasn't a big deal. She tilted her head. For most civilizations, it would have been. I blinked. It was just a broken machine. She smiled. Our people wished to know why a human would spend 3 hours repairing something that offered no payment. I shrugged. It needed help. Silence. The captain stared at me like I'd just confessed to stealing a moon. The alien woman smiled again. Our scientists have debated your actions for 8 months. I almost laughed. You debated kindness? Yes. Seriously? Very seriously. I rubbed my forehead. Aliens were strange. Very strange. She suddenly bowed. My name is Lyra. It is an honor to finally meet you. I awkwardly shook her hand. Nice to meet you too. Her fingers paused. Her glowing markings brightened slightly. Interesting. She noticed it too. Something passed across her face. Confusion, curiosity, then excitement. She quickly stepped back. I have confirmed the reading. Captain Brooks frowned. Reading? She ignored him. Instead, she looked directly into my eyes. Our instruments were correct. What instruments? She smiled mysteriously. You possess something humanity does not know it possesses. The room became silent. I laughed nervously. I think you've got the wrong guy. We do not. What exactly do I have? She folded her hands. I cannot explain here. Why? Because if I am correct, she looked toward the stars outside the station. The entire galaxy is about to change. A cold chill ran down my spine. I suddenly wasn't thinking about broken pipes anymore, or coffee, or finishing my shift. Somehow, without doing anything special, I had become important to one of the most advanced civilizations in existence. I had absolutely no idea why, and somehow, that mystery was only the beginning. Because before this day ended, the same mysterious alien standing before me would casually walk into my room, smile as if everything were perfectly normal, and claim my bed as if it had always belonged to her. The command office stayed silent long after Lyra's words faded away. The entire galaxy is about to change. Ethan wished she would explain instead of speaking in riddles. Captain Brooks crossed his arms. I believe everyone in this room deserves an explanation. Lyra gave a respectful nod. You will receive one soon. First, Ethan Carter must remain under Lyran protection. The captain frowned. Protection from what? That answer is arriving faster than expected, almost as if the universe wanted to prove her right. Every screen inside the command center flashed bright red. A warning echoed through the station. Unknown vessel detected. Every officer turned toward the main display. A black ship drifted out of hyperspace. Unlike the graceful Lyran vessel, this one looked jagged and damaged, as though it had been built from broken pieces of forgotten warships. Nobody spoke. Captain Brooks finally broke the silence. Identify them. A nervous officer typed rapidly. No records. Another officer looked up. They're broadcasting on encrypted channels. Lyra's glowing markings suddenly became brighter. They found us. Captain Brooks looked at her. Who are they? The collectors. The room grew colder. Even the experienced alien diplomats looked uneasy. Ethan noticed the change immediately. Whatever the collectors were, nobody wanted them nearby. Within minutes, the station entered full security lockdown. Large metal doors sealed every corridor. Defense drones floated into position. People hurried toward emergency shelters. Ethan followed Lyra through the busy hallway. So, he said quietly, who exactly are the collectors? They believe every rare discovery belongs to them. Rare discovery? She looked directly at him. You. Ethan laughed. I'm a maintenance engineer. Not anymore. I fix broken pipes. You also repaired an unknown machine without expecting payment. So? Most civilizations would not. I still don't understand. You will. They reached Ethan's living quarters. It was exactly as ordinary as before. One small bed, one tiny table, one chair, one window overlooking endless stars. Lyra stepped inside and calmly studied the room. It is, smaller than expected. It wasn't designed for guests. She walked toward the single bed. She gently placed one hand on it before smiling. "This will be suitable." Ethan sighed. There really is only one bed. I noticed. She sat comfortably on the edge as if nothing about the situation seemed unusual. "I claim this bed," Ethan stared. "You what?" "I claim this bed." His brain froze for the second time that day. "That's my bed. For now." He blinked. "For now?" She nodded. "Our customs require it." "What customs?" "When a Lyran chooses someone under personal protection, we sleep inside their home until the danger has passed. You could have started with that." I believed it was obvious. It absolutely wasn't. She tilted her head. "It is very obvious among civilized species." Ethan laughed. Humans definitely didn't get that memo. For the first time since arriving, Lyra actually laughed. The sound was soft, warm, completely genuine. "I am beginning to understand why humans confuse everyone. And aliens confuse us. We appear to be equal." Outside the room, 2 cargo workers happened to walk past the open doorway. They stopped. One looked inside. His eyes became enormous. He whispered to his friend, "Is that a Lyran?" In Ethan's room? The second worker noticed Lyra sitting confidently on Ethan's bed. Oh. Both slowly backed away. Neither said another word. They simply left. Very quickly. Less than 20 minutes later, the entire station was talking. I heard a Lyran moved into the human sector. No. I heard she claimed his room. My cousin works security. He said she refused diplomatic housing. They're saying she's protecting him. They're saying she's studying him. They're saying humans are secretly important. Rumors spread faster than any official announcement ever could. By dinner, half the station knew Ethan's name. By evening, the other half had invented stories that never happened. Back inside the room, Ethan watched Lyra examining the broken coffee machine. She pressed one glowing symbol. Nothing happened. She pressed another. The machine suddenly exploded with steam. She stepped backward. Interesting. Ethan couldn't help smiling. It does that. It appears aggressive. It only attacks before breakfast. She looked at him seriously. Humans willingly keep this machine? I've thought about throwing it into space. I support this decision. Both laughed. The awkwardness slowly disappeared. For the first time, Lyra seemed less like a mysterious alien diplomat, and more like someone simply trying to understand another world. Hours passed peacefully. Then Lyra became unusually quiet. She stared through the window at the stars. What is it? They're here. Ethan looked outside. I don't see anything. You cannot. Her glowing markings slowly brightened. They hide beyond sensor range. A second later, every light inside the room suddenly flickered, then went dark. Emergency power activated. A loud explosion shook the entire station. The floor trembled. Metal groaned. Warning alarms screamed through every corridor. Hull breach detected. Security teams respond immediately. People shouted outside. Running footsteps echoed everywhere. Captain Brooks' voice filled the station. All personnel remain where you are. Another explosion hit, much closer. Lyra immediately stood. They have begun. Ethan grabbed his emergency toolkit. What's happening? They're searching. For me? Yes. They've never met me. They do not care who you are. They care about what you carry. Ethan stared. I don't carry anything. You carry something no machine can create. Before Ethan could ask another question, his room door exploded inward. Smoke filled the hallway. 3 armored figures stepped through the broken entrance. Their armor was black, featureless, cold. None of them carried visible faces, only glowing red eyes behind polished helmets. One of them raised a strange device toward Ethan. A mechanical voice echoed through the room. Human confirmed, another voice answered. Recover the anomaly. Lyra stepped between them and Ethan. Her golden eyes no longer looked gentle. They burned with determination. She raised one glowing hand. I warned you. The armored leader remained perfectly still. You cannot protect him forever. Lyra smiled. I only need today. For a heartbeat. Nobody moved. Then every symbol across Lyra's skin burst into brilliant golden light. The room shook as an invisible wave exploded outward. The nearest attacker flew backward through the shattered doorway. The remaining two staggered but quickly regained their balance. Ethan could only stare. The calm diplomat he had met that morning was gone. Standing before him now was someone the collectors clearly feared. And for the first time, Ethan realized one terrifying truth. The galaxy hadn't chosen him by accident. It had been searching for him long before he ever knew its name. The golden wave burst through the room like a silent storm. Metal walls groaned. Broken furniture slid across the floor. The nearest collector crashed into the hallway, smashing through a storage cabinet before disappearing into a cloud of smoke. Ethan barely stayed on his feet. He had never seen energy move without heat. He had never seen anyone fight without touching their enemy. Lyra lowered her glowing hand. Stay behind me. The remaining two collectors recovered almost instantly. One raised a long black device. A beam of blue light shot across the room. Lyra pushed Ethan aside. The beam struck the wall where he had been standing only a heartbeat earlier. The metal simply vanished. Not melted, not broken. Gone. Ethan swallowed hard. That would have been me. It would. She sounded perfectly calm. Run. I'm not leaving you. I did not ask. She grabbed his wrist. I ordered you. Before Ethan could argue, another explosion shook the station. Emergency lights flickered. The ceiling rained tiny pieces of metal. Captain Brooks's voice echoed through every speaker. All civilians evacuate to Sector 9. Nobody listened. Panic had already taken over. Lyra pulled Ethan into the hallway. People rushed in every direction. Security officers shouted orders. Medical drones floated above frightened families. A small alien child stumbled in the middle of the corridor. Its parents were trapped behind the crowd. Another explosion shook the station. A heavy support beam broke loose from the ceiling. It fell directly toward the child. Everyone screamed. Everyone froze. Except Ethan. He ran, without thinking, without calculating the danger. He dove forward and pushed the child clear just before the beam crashed onto the floor. The impact echoed through the corridor. Dust filled the air. For a second, everything became quiet. The child looked up with wide blue eyes. You saved me. Ethan smiled. You looked like you needed help. The little alien hugged him tightly. Its parents finally reached them. Neither could speak. They simply bowed with tears in their eyes. Lyra watched silently. Her glowing markings brightened once again. She whispered almost to herself. There it is. Ethan looked over. What? The reason? He frowned. The reason for what? She did not answer. Instead, she looked strangely hopeful. They hurried deeper into the station. Every corridor became more chaotic than the last. Smoke drifted through the ventilation system. Emergency doors slammed shut. Power failed in entire sections. The collectors were not attacking to destroy the station. They were searching for Ethan. That thought refused to leave his mind. Mason suddenly appeared around the corner. Ethan, he nearly crashed into them. I've been looking everywhere. He stopped when he noticed Lyra. So, the rumors were true. Ethan sighed. This is really bad timing. You think? Mason looked toward the damaged hallway. The whole station is falling apart. Mysterious soldiers are chasing you, and somehow you've become the most famous human here. I'd honestly like one normal day. I don't think you're getting one. Before anyone could continue, 3 security drones flew around the corner. Weapons activated. Red lights flashed. One drone announced, unknown energy signature detected. The drones locked onto Lyra. Captain Brooks's voice suddenly interrupted through their speakers. Stand down. The drones immediately lowered their weapons. Brooks himself appeared moments later with a squad of station guards. His face looked tired. I've just received reports from every sector. He looked directly at Ethan. They're ignoring military supplies. They're ignoring the reactor. They're ignoring our command center. They're only asking one question. Ethan already knew. Where's the human? Brooks nodded. They don't even care if we survive. Lyra stepped forward. Because they know what he represents. Brooks folded his arms. Then tell us. Lyra remained silent for several seconds. Finally, she nodded. It is time. They entered the station's emergency conference room. Only a handful of people remained. Captain Brooks Mason, several alien ambassadors, and Ethan. The doors sealed behind them. Lyra activated a small crystal. A map of the galaxy appeared in the air. Thousands of stars floated above the table. This, she began, is not the first age of intelligent life. Everyone watched quietly. Millions of years ago, another civilization existed. The stars shifted. An ancient symbol appeared. They disappeared long before humanity looked toward the sky. What happened? Ethan asked. No one knows. But they left something behind. The map changed again. Tiny lights spread across countless worlds. Seeds. Captain Brooks frowned. Seeds? Not plants. She looked at Ethan. Potential. Nobody understood. Lyra continued. The ancient civilization believed every intelligent species should grow naturally, so they created invisible markers. They never interfered. They only watched. Ethan rubbed his forehead. I'm still lost. She smiled gently. Imagine planting a forest. You do not force every tree to grow. You simply give each one the chance. Mason slowly nodded. So humanity is one of those trees? Yes. And me? Lyra looked directly into his eyes. You bloomed. Silence filled the room. Captain Brooks leaned forward. What exactly does that mean? Lyra's answer surprised everyone. It means Ethan Carter can naturally interact with ancient technology. Ethan laughed. I've never even seen ancient technology. You have. When? The survey drone. His smile disappeared. The drone wasn't broken. It was asleep. You awakened it. I repaired a power circuit. You restored something our greatest scientists could not. Mason blinked. Wait, you mean Ethan accidentally solved an ancient puzzle? Lyra nodded. Without realizing it, Captain Brooks slowly sat down. This is unbelievable. It is measurable. She touched another crystal. A recording appeared. It showed Ethan repairing the tiny drone months earlier. The moment his hand touched the machine, ancient symbols hidden inside the drone suddenly lit up. Not because of the repair, because of him. Ethan stared at the recording. I never saw that. The drone hit it. A loud alarm interrupted the meeting. Every screen turned black. Then a new face appeared. Not human. Not Lyran. One glowing red eye stared directly at them. The mechanical voice echoed through the station. Ethan Carter, no one moved. You have delayed the inevitable. Captain Brooks cut the transmission. It returned immediately. You possess the first key. Ethan looked confused. I don't have any key. You are the key. The room became silent. The collector continued. Our creators searched for your kind across countless generations. Lyra stepped forward. You lie. We preserve truth. You preserve nothing. We preserve order. The collector ignored her. Ethan Carter. Come willingly. Humanity will survive. Refuse. The screen shifted. A distant colony appeared. Thousands of civilians, children, families. A countdown started in the corner, and they will disappear before sunrise. The transmission ended. Silence filled the room. No one spoke. No one breathed. Ethan stared at the countdown. Thousands of innocent lives, placed on one side, his own freedom on the other. Captain Brooks finally broke the silence. We'll find another way. Ethan looked at the terrified faces around him, then at Lyra. She already knew what he was thinking. You are not considering this, he answered quietly. If those people die because of me, they are manipulating you. I know. You cannot trust them. I don't. Then don't go. Ethan looked at the countdown once more. His voice became calm. They're counting on everyone believing a human only saves people he knows. He stood up. They've made a very big mistake. Because if there was one thing the galaxy still didn't understand about humanity, it was that humans had a habit of risking everything, even for complete strangers. The countdown glowed above the conference table. 5:59:42, no one spoke. Every second felt louder than the last. Captain Brooks finally stood. "I won't allow you to surrender." Ethan met his eyes. "I'm not surrendering." "Then what are you doing?" "I'm making sure innocent people stay alive." Lyra stepped beside him. "You are walking into their trap." "I know. They expect you to act alone." Ethan smiled. "That's where they're wrong." She looked at him curiously. "What do humans do instead?" "We work together." Within minutes, the conference room transformed into a command center. Engineers, pilots, scientists, security officers, even civilians volunteered to help. For the first time since the attack began, humans and aliens stopped arguing. They started planning. Mason pulled up a station blueprint. "If the collectors are tracking Ethan, we can give them exactly what they want." Captain Brooks raised an eyebrow. "A fake target?" Mason grinned. "The loudest fake target they've ever seen." Several engineers immediately understood. They began building a portable energy beacon using damaged collector equipment. Lyra watched the humans work. Nobody shouted. Nobody panicked. Ideas moved from one person to another faster than any computer. One mechanic suggested a solution. A young programmer improved it. An elderly alien scientist added another piece. Within 20 minutes, the impossible machine was finished. Lyra looked genuinely amazed. "Our research said humans were innovative," she smiled. "It failed to describe this." Ethan laughed. "We're good at making things work with spare parts." The station lights suddenly returned. Outside the observation window, the black collector ship slowly turned, its weapons charged. Captain Brooks looked toward Ethan. "This is your last chance to stay here." Ethan shook his head. "If I hide, they'll attack another colony. I can't let that happen." Brooks held out his hand. "It has been an honor serving beside you." Ethan shook it firmly. "The honor's mine." A small transport shuttle launched from Station 12. Inside were only 3 people, Ethan, Lyra, and Mason. The energy beacon sat behind them, glowing brighter every minute. The collector ship immediately detected it exactly as planned. "They're locking onto us," Mason reported. "Good," Ethan answered. "I've always wanted their full attention." Lyra looked at him. "You continue surprising me. You'll get used to it." "I sincerely doubt that." The collector cruiser opened its massive docking bay. The shuttle flew inside without resistance. Heavy metal doors closed behind them. Silence filled the enormous chamber. Ethan stepped onto the cold, black floor. Hundreds of collector soldiers surrounded them. None attacked. They simply watched. A much larger figure slowly walked forward. Unlike the others, its armor carried glowing silver markings. Its voice sounded older. "Welcome, Ethan Carter. You've got the wrong welcome committee. We expected humor. I'm glad I didn't disappoint you." For the first time, the collector leader paused, almost as if it didn't know how to respond. "You possess the first key. I don't even know what that means. You soon will." The enormous doors behind the leader slowly opened. A hidden chamber appeared. At its center stood an ancient crystal unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. It floated in the air. Soft golden light flowed through countless symbols carved into its surface. The moment Ethan stepped closer, the crystal awakened. Every symbol began shining. Lyra gasped. "It has recognized him." The collector leader nodded. As predicted, Ethan reached toward the crystal. "What happens if I touch it?" "No living being has ever survived the attempt." He smiled. "Well, there's a first time for everything." Before anyone could stop him, his hand touched the crystal. Light exploded through the chamber. The collector soldiers staggered backward. Every screen inside their ship turned white. Ancient symbols filled the walls. Then, a voice echoed across the entire vessel. "Not mechanical. Not human ancient. Genetic signature confirmed. First guardian found." The crystal surrounded Ethan with warm golden light. Images flashed through his mind. Ancient cities. Endless stars. countless civilizations rising and falling. He understood something no language had ever explained. The ancient builders had never hidden powerful weapons. They had hidden responsibility. The first key was never an object. It was a person capable of bringing different civilizations together instead of ruling them. The collectors had misunderstood everything. For millions of years. The ancient voice spoke again. Power without compassion leads only to ruin. Every collector froze. The crystal projected thousands of forgotten records, their entire history, their greatest mistake. Generation after generation, they believed strength gave them ownership. The builders had believed the opposite. Only those willing to protect strangers deserved access to their knowledge. The crystal had chosen Ethan for one simple reason. He helped others. Even when nobody was watching, the collector leader slowly lowered its weapon. Its glowing eye dimmed. We failed. The ancient voice answered. You may choose again. Silence filled the chamber. Then something incredible happened. One by one, collector soldiers placed their weapons on the floor. None were forced. None were threatened. They simply chose. Lyra watched with tears in her eyes. I never believed I would see this. Back on Station 12, every screen suddenly came alive. The countdown disappeared. The threatened colony was safe. Across the galaxy, collector fleets shut down their weapons. Ancient defense systems recognized Ethan's choice. Instead of unlocking war, the first key unlocked peace. Several days later, Station 12 looked completely different. Broken walls had been repaired. Markets reopened. Children once again filled the corridors with laughter. Humans and aliens worked side by side. Captain Brooks smiled as Ethan walked through the station. I've received 73 requests. For what? Every government in the galaxy wants to meet the human maintenance engineer. Ethan groaned. I miss broken pipes. Brooks laughed. I never thought I'd hear anyone say that. Mason caught up with him carrying 2 cups of coffee. The machine exploded twice. So it's working normally. Exactly. They laughed together, near the observation window. Lyra stood watching the stars. Ethan joined her. The galaxy feels quieter. It does. She looked toward him. Our historians will write about this day for thousands of years. I hope they leave out the part where my room got destroyed. She smiled. I cannot promise that. After a moment of comfortable silence, she spoke softly. I owe you an apology. For what? When I first arrived, I believed humanity was interesting. And now? She smiled warmly. Now I know humanity is extraordinary. Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. We're still figuring things out. That is exactly your greatest strength. She reached into a small pouch and removed a tiny crystal. It glowed with soft golden light. In Lyran culture, this gift is only given once. Ethan accepted it carefully. What does it mean? She met his eyes. It means, I trust you with my future. He smiled. I'll do my best not to disappoint you. You already have the opposite effect. Both laughed. Months later, the story of Station 12 spread across every known world. People didn't remember Ethan because he was the strongest or the richest or the smartest. They remembered him because he stopped to repair a lonely drone, saved a frightened child, risked everything for strangers, and reminded an ancient civilization that kindness could change history. Across the galaxy, one sentence became famous. Whenever someone asked why humans were different, the answer was always the same. Because when everyone else searches for power, humans still search for someone who needs help. And for Ethan Carter, it all began with one ordinary day, one unexpected visitor, and one moment that proved the smallest acts of kindness can echo across the stars.